Good evening, good evening, good evening. My brothers and sisters, come on to the dinner table. Your brother Tony is in the house. Come on in, come on in. Get your seats, my brothers and sisters, and make sure when you get your seats leave a little room because we may have some guests that come to the dinner table and we want to show them that they are truly our guests. If this is your first time at the dinner table, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Tony M. Toomer, and I talk about relationships. I talk about relationships, my brother and sister. I talk about successful ways to have a great, strong, enduring relationship. And I basically try to start from the top to explain or expound to you what a real relationship is like, basically from a spiritual standpoint. When you go to the book of Genesis, my brother and sister, you could say, well, you could see where God is the one that established the relationship, and He established a relationship with him and a man first. He established a relationship with him and a woman, and then God represented a woman to the man. And when God represented the woman to the man, that man being Adam and that woman being Eve, that is the pattern of how God would like for a relationship to be. Now, if you choose to be in another type of relationship other than what's in the book of Genesis, you have what is called a free will. You can do whatever you choose to do. But I strictly go by the concept of relationship from the book of Genesis, okay? And I would like for you brothers and sisters and you guests to know that I'm on two different platforms this evening. I'm on the book, which is Facebook, and I'm on the tube, which is YouTube. Those of you on YouTube, I may make a comment to those on Facebook. I call out their name in their comments, and vice versa. Those of you that on Facebook, I may say something to those that on YouTube. You may not see their comments, but I will call out their name and tell you what the comment is. So you're welcome, welcome, welcome. And you also welcome my brother and sister. If you have a comment to make along the way, you can feel free to make your comments, or not only comments, you can also ask your question at the dinner table because we family here, okay? With that said, when you look at the menu for tonight, my brother and sister, we are going to discuss at the dinner table when a man or woman is fed up. There's nothing that you can do about it. Again, that's what we're going to discuss at the dinner table. When a man or woman is fed up, there is nothing that you can do about it. Now, my brother and sister, what just look at it this way. How you doing, Sister Tierra? Welcome to the dinner table. Welcome, sister. I hope that you had a good week and a good weekend. Um, and come on in, my brother and sister. Come on in, come on in. We got plenty of room at the dinner table. We got some good food for the soul. But back to what's on the menu. When a man or woman is fed up, there is nothing that you can do about it. Now, there's some of you brothers and sisters, you can relate to this what I'm about to say. Some of you have walked down that road before, or some of you are currently experiencing this right now. While looking deeply into a mirror, have you ever thought, my brother or sister, about that one particular person that you probably thought at that particular time in the past or present that you just have to have that man or woman in your life? You want to be in an in-depth relationship with that man or woman so badly. I mean, so badly, my brother and sister, but you see that it just won't work or it can't work. You tried your best, like trying to fit pieces of a puzzle together, but it just doesn't fit between you and that person. And on top of that, my brothers and sisters, the more you try to make the relationship work, the worse it gets. So that's what we're talking about at the dinner table. When a man or woman is fed up, there's nothing that you can do about it. Now, I know you all have heard this song by R. Kelly some years ago, but he didn't say man. He said when a woman is fed up, there's nothing you can do about it. But I'm talking tonight. It doesn't only apply to a woman. It applies to a man. It's in you, brother and you sister, you got to look at this. Some of you all have been fed up, and some of you are currently fed up. And that man or woman that you tried to make this relationship work with, it didn't go nowhere, or it isn't going anywhere right now. So what do? I'm going to make about 3 points tonight, my brother, at the dinner table and my sister, so we can see how we can get through this phase of a relationship where you're not, you think that you're not being appreciated, and not only think it, you feel it and you see it. As I always say, my brother and sister, at the beginning of a relationship, there are normally red flags. Now, when it comes to red flag, my brother and sister, a lot of time we may ignore those red flags. We see it, but we don't see it, because at the beginning of a relationship, that's normally the excitement phase of a relationship, and we really want it to work. And the person that's in front of us, he or she more than likely is trying to put his or her best foot forward as we are. So, in that excitement part of the relationship, my brother and sister, you may think or feel that you never met a person like this before. You may not have met that particular person, but there's a strong possibility that you have met a particular person that have manifest some red flags, but you seen it, but you don't see it. So, my brother and sister, when it comes to a relationship, you got to understand this, my brother and sister. Why are you in the relationship? You got to ask yourself the question, why am I in this? Why do I want this relationship to work? You see, my brother and sister, you're not being selfish. You need to see the person that's you trying to make the relationship work. You got to see whether or not this person is going to be an asset to your life, or is this person going to be a liability to your life? Is this person going to help you build, or is this person going to help tear you down? You see, the person that's in front of you cannot allow a person, my brother and sister, to be lukewarm with you when it comes to a relationship. And that's what some of you brothers and sisters, you're dealing with that currently. You're in a relationship with someone that's lukewarm. What do I mean by lukewarm? That man or woman, you see it and you feel it that he or she is not there. Have you ever noticed this, my brother and sister, that you are the one that is putting more the effort into the relationship, and that relationship that you're on is just like a ship, a boat that you're on. There's a hole in the bottom of the boat. You and that person is in that boat, but you the one who trying to stop it from that. You trying to plug the hole up, and the other person is not. The person is don't care about whether the boat sink or stay up. You doing all the work. So my brother and sister, tonight at the dinner table, we needed to discuss this. So my brother and sister, some of you right now, you are looking in the you have looked or you are looking in the mirror at yourself, and you're wondering what's going on. You're really, really looking. You like when you go in the mirror and look at yourself in the mirror and you see some things on your face or whatever, you move that out the way. But then sometimes you could just look in the mirror, and when you're looking in the mirror, you're looking at yourself. And while you're looking at yourself, you're thinking, and you're thinking, I'm really into that man or woman, but he or she doesn't appear to be into me. And so, my brothers and sisters, while you standing there looking in the mirror at yourself and you're thinking and you're feeling, why am I doing all this? Why am I putting all my effort into it? Why is it all about me? Why I'm doing it? Why this other person is not doing it? You see, my brothers and sisters, you got to get to the point. Whereas you're gonna have to face it just like you're looking in the mirror in the past or right now. You got to really, really look at it and see the relationship for what it is. Have you ever noticed this? And I have said it before, my brothers, I have said it before my sister. Have you ever noticed, and this is basically for my single brother and sister, and it can apply to my married brother and sister, but more so you single brothers and sisters. Have you ever noticed that you are putting in all the effort into the relationship? You doing everything. Now the person can be responsive to you, but he or she not really doing nothing. Have you ever noticed that you be doing all the calling? Have you noticed that? Have you ever noticed that you be doing all the texting? Have you noticed that? If you go out, have you ever noticed you the one that initiating going out? Have you noticed this? Have you noticed when it comes to financial transaction, like if you go out of something, you doing everything, and that person is not really doing nothing. The only time that person really reach out to you, my brother, sister, is when he or she appears to want or need something from you. Do you ever notice that, my brother and sister, a lot of times when you are talking to that man or woman, the conversation be really short, and you the one who be carrying the conversation. When you be in that person present, you ever notice that you carry most of the conversation? Have you ever noticed that while you're talking a lot of time, that man or that woman, they're more entertained with their cell phones than you? Or if you be in their company, if you got a TV on, they looking more at the TV than you. I mean, you see it and you feel it. And sometimes you might have said, "Look at me, I'm here." I mean, and then they'll look at you and say something like, what?" But they're not that responsive. They just going through the motion. And then when they get a phone call or a text from somebody, they light up. But while you're talking to them and everything, they don't light up. The only time that man or woman light up, my brother and sister, is when you are doing something for him or her. And when they reach out to you, it's gonna seem like it's a very, very sunny day. Other than that, it'd be like it's about to rain. But when they need something or want something from you, they'll call you. And when you respond to them, whether they call you by text, they're gonna try to get a feel for how he or she going to extract something from you, because all they want to do is get something from you. And when you meet their need or their want, they're gonna go right back into how he or she normally treats you. So at this particular time, how long you gonna let this go on, my brother and sister? How long are you gonna allow this to go on? Some of you, brother, sister, on the subconscious level, you don't think that you could do no better than that man or woman. But believe me, you can do better. That man and woman, they could time your pattern and behavior. He or she knows when you're gonna reach out to him or her. They know what you're gonna talk about. They anticipate all your moves. But that person, you want to open up to that person, but he or she is not opening up to you. He or she really want to share his or her life with you. He or she may be doing things on their own, and they might come and tell you what they're doing with their family, their friends, and stuff. And have you ever noticed that they really don't include you in their lives? You try to include them in your life. You try to introduce them to your family, friends, and everything. Excuse me, and everything on your side or people on your side, but you rarely get that same thing in response. Tonight, my brother and sister, I must tell you this. I know this is going to be very hard for some of you. That man or that woman really, really doesn't have it for you. Because you see, when it comes to a relationship, a man and or a woman needs to invest 100% in the relationship. If that man or woman cannot invest 100% into the relationship with you, other than his or her relationship with God, you don't need that man or woman. So why would you put in all the effort and energy and he or she is not giving you what you need in a relationship? Now, the equation of coming to the relationship being 50-50, 60-40, 30-70, 20-80, that's not the right equation when it comes to a relationship. The right equation when it comes to a relationship is the man supposed to invest 100% into the relationship, and the woman supposed to invest 100% in the relationship. So someone that you're really into, my brother and sister, tonight you got to ask yourself that question or this question: why is he or she is not into me? Which goes to the number two thing. You got to face the truth, my brother. You got to face the truth, my sister. And what is the truth? The truth is, my brother and sister, you got to really look at the relationship and say, is it him or her, or is it me? While you looking in the mirror, you got to ask yourself that question. Is it him or her, or is it me? Why does it seem like it's so hard to make this relationship work? My brother and sister, when it comes to a relationship, you should not have a whole bunch of confusion. It should not be hard work in a relationship. Believe it or not, my brothers and sisters, when it comes to a relationship, it's not a whole bunch of hard work. It's about understanding, but and it's about communicating your needs and wants and vice versa. It's about just being on one accord, my brother and sister. You can tell whether or not you are on one accord with that man or woman. So while you look in the mirror, you got to say, is it him or her, or is it me? You got to ask yourself that question. And a lot of time, my brother and sister, you want to take the blame for a relationship that is not working. A lot of time, my brother and sister, it's not you. It's that man or woman that he or she basically using you for maybe a band-aid or a bridge over troubled water. A lot of time, my brother and sister, when a man or woman is not investing a whole lot into you, normally it'd be like this. He or she, their interest is normally somewhere else. Normally, when you're trying to really invest into a relationship, and then that man or woman is playing hot and cold with you, or that man or woman is straddling the fence, a lot of time, my brother and sister, you better believe this, that man or woman is basically probably dealing with someone else. And I have to tell you that that's the bad part of it. Most of the time, that man or woman is dealing with someone else that he or she may not be telling you about. That's why I tell you, my brother and sister, one thing you should never do, don't get into a relationship with someone that's coming out of a relationship, someone that fresh out of a relationship. Don't get totally involved with that man or woman. Because if you get totally involved with a man or woman that's fresh out of relationship, majority of the time, that man or woman has not healed. That man or woman could have a lot of hurt. That man or woman could have a lot of hatred. You don't know all the uh things that happen in that man or woman relationship. And he or she may tell you some things, but a lot of time they ain't gonna tell you everything. And most of the time, a man or woman that's coming out of a bad relationship, my brother and sister, if you notice that he or she gonna tell you mostly about the bad thing that other man and woman have done. Most of the time, and this not only applies to women, but some men, they would play the part of a victim. And if a man or woman that you're dealing with, my brother and sister, if they have a pattern of going from relationship to relationship, and he or she always blaming a member of the opposite sex for the relationship is not going right, what is the common denominator? The common denominator, my brother and sister, is that man or the woman that you're in a relationship with. Why that man or that woman cannot be in a lengthy relationship? Especially they keep going from one relationship to another relationship. So you got to face the truth, my brother and sister. You got to say, is it her or him, or is it me? Most of the time, it's that man or the woman, which goes to number three. Now, the hard part, my brother and sister, this is the very hard part of what we're talking about tonight. You making a decision. You have to make a decision that it's over, my brother and sister, and you got to move on. And I'm talking back to my brother, my single brother and sister. Now, when you are married, that's a whole different thing. You can't just say it's over and move on that, because that's a whole different topic. But based on my single brother and sister, you got to get to the point where you got to face it. You got to say, why are you looking in the mirror? You got to say, this thing is over and I need to move on. I'm not getting nowhere with it. I'm not getting my needs met. I'm not getting my wants met. I'm doing everything to try to make this relationship work. It's so hard. There's so much confusion in it. A relationship should not be filled with a whole bunch of confusion. A relationship should be composed of peace. So even when you look in God's word, God is not the author of confusion, but peace. A lot of time, my brother and sister, when there's not peace and there's a lot of confusion, it's not of God. Which leads to this, my brother and sister. Don't ever think, my brother and sister, that you're the only man or woman that have been faced with being rejected or despised in a relationship. You're not the only one. Don't ever think that you got to walk this road by yourself. But when you're going through a relationship, my brother and sister, and you have invested so much into the relationship with that man or woman, you may feel like you're the only one that have experienced that. My brother and sister, you're not the only man and you're not the only woman that have been betrayed or despised or used. You're not the only one and you will not be the last one. Now, what's on the menu for the night? When a man or woman is fed up, there is nothing that you can do about it. So, my brother and sister, you're going to get to the point where you're going to cry that last teardrop. When you try that, when you cry, excuse me, when you cry that last teardrop, you got to make up your mind that it's time to move on. And I'm going to tell you this: when you make a decision to move on, my brother and sister, more than likely, that man or that woman, they going to be able to detect that you're not calling them as much as you used to. You're not texting him or her as much as you used to. You're not doing a whole lot of things like you used to. He or she going to be able to tell that your pattern going to change. And a lot of time, my brother and sister, that man or woman normally have you there because you are a fallback. You are basically a fallback for some of these men and women. Don't put yourself in a position, my brother and sister, to be a fallback. You're not a fallback. You, brother, and you, sister, you have value. Your time is valuable. You are valuable. Don't never let no man or woman think that you're beneath them. You have a lot to offer a man, sister, or a woman, sister. You, brother, and you, sister, are a son and daughter of God. Now, as far as being despised or rejected, Jesus know a lot about that. When we go to the scripture, it say, as it is written in the book of Isaiah 53:3. Again, it's Isaiah 53:3, Isaiah 53:3, Isaiah 53:3. It said that he was despised and rejected by mankind, a man of suffering and familiar with pain, like one from whom people hid their face. He was despised, and we held him in low esteem. So, my brother and sister, when it comes to a relationship, listen to me very carefully. How you doing, Sister Parker? Welcome to the dinner table. My brother and sister, when it comes to a relationship, the Lord knows what it feels like to be despised. The Lord knows what it feels like to be rejected. The Lord is familiar with pain when you be despised and rejected. The Lord knows what it's like to be used. He can identify, my brother and sister. He can really identify. So, in order, my brother and sister, when you get fed up, like I was saying, when you cry that last time, not tie, but excuse me, when you cry that last tear, you got to make a firm decision because at this particular time you got to a point where you fed up. And when you fed up, my brother and sister, you got to make a conscious choice of what you're going to do. The first thing what you need to do, my brother and sister, you need, while you are looking in the mirror, you need to, like I always say, you need to have a private prayer with the Lord, because my brother and sister, you're stuck on a man or woman that it's sad to say, he or she really doesn't want you in his or her life. They really do not want you. They really don't want you. They're not saying you're a bad man. They're not saying that you're a bad woman. But brother and sister, there's someone out there that will really, really appreciate you. There's a man and woman out there that want to invest 100% in you after their relationship with the Lord. Like your relationship with the Lord, there's a man and woman that want to invest 100% in you. But you got to let that man and woman go that's not giving you what you need in relationship. So, and it's so bad that some people that are married right now, my brother and sister, they get married to a man and a woman, and they got all those red flags at the beginning of the relationship, and they think that that man or woman going to change once he or she say I do. They normally get worse. So, my brother and sister, you getting on red flag right now. Don't force the relationship to go together. Don't put all your energy into a relationship with a man and woman that is not giving you the same thing you need. I'm going to tell you this to my brother and sister when it comes to a relationship. There's some key things that you need to look out for so you can move on. Have you ever noticed if you don't call or text that man or woman, have you noticed that a whole lot of days could go by? Have you ever noticed that? But when you finally reach out to them, they may respond then, or they may not respond, but you still doing the initiation. Have you ever noticed that this man and woman, they make plans to be with their family, friends, or do other things, and they rarely include you in it? Have you ever noticed that? Have you ever noticed this, my brother and sister, when you be so happy when you see his or her number coming to your phone, when you look at your phone, you be so happy when you see those texts, but that far and few between. And most of the time they want you, it's not what you think. You thinking that that man or woman or desire you for who you are. But most of the time they don't desire you for who you are. They desire you for what you can do for him or her. That's how they normally do it, my brother and sister. So tonight you need to face the fact. You need to make that hard decision, and you need to tell yourself that it's over, and you need to move on. Because right now, my brother and sister, you are at the point, especially you single brother and sister, you at the point where you fed up, and you just so happen to sit at the dinner table. Some of you just so happen to sit at the dinner table, and I'm bringing up this topic that been on your mind for a while now. Now you at the point. You're looking in the mirror, you fed up. When you're fed up, my brother and sister, it's gonna be hard to detox from that man or woman that you subconsciously put on a pedestal. You're soul tied to that man or woman, but there's a way to break the soul tie. You had got invested in a person or narcissist type of individual. So now you got to do something to break that soul tie. Now, what do you have to do? You have to, my brother, sister, it's gonna be hard. I'm letting you know now, it's gonna be hard. So what you have to do, you have to pray first for deliverance, because that man or that woman have shackles on, not on your feet, but that man and woman have a shackle on your heart. Sister Parker said, yep, I've been down that road before. And believe me, Sister Parker, your brother Tony have been down that road before in the past. So you're going to have to get to that point, my brother and sister, that you have to go to the Lord and admit to the Lord that you have a problem. Go ahead and admit to the Lord that you got a problem. And when you go to the Lord, you need to tell the Lord you're sorry because you put another man or another woman in a place where he's supposed to be at. You need to fess up to the Lord. You cannot hold nothing back from the Lord, because he's the one that can help you. I can't help you get through this grieving process or this hurt. I could say some things, I could talk to you, but I cannot really move that pain and anger in your heart. There are some of you brothers and sisters right now, you looking for closure. And this is what I want to tell you, my brother and sister. Stop looking for closure all the time. You just want an explanation for that man or woman why he or she doing what he or she doing. And like I have told you, brother and sister, when you look at a man or a woman, you got to look at them. You got to visualize that man or woman like they're a scale. And when I said look, visualize them like they're a scale, you could put something on this weight and some weight on this, right? The balances, right? And the words and the action got to balance out. My brother and sister, if that man and woman words and action doesn't balance out, you need to move on. It's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse. And let me tell you this, my brother and sister, you can go to the Lord and pray to the Lord. And then what some people do, you pray to the Lord, some of you single brothers and sisters, that the relationship work. You pray to the Lord. He's not going to force a brother, sister, or he's not going to force a woman, brother, to be with you. The Lord is not going to make that man or woman a robot for you. That's what you got to understand, my brother and sister. That man and that woman has a free will, like you have a free will. And you got to understand that he got a free will, she got a free will, and he or she going to do what he or she wants to do with his or her free will. The Lord is not going to force no one to be the person for you. Now, the Lord has someone for you. If you have a desire for a man and a woman, he does have someone for you, but you got to let this particular individual go so the Lord can do his thing. But before the Lord bring that person into your presence, my brother and sister, you got to deal with this person that you're holding on to. It's gonna be hard. You got to make up your mind. Your mind tonight, my single brother and sister. You got to go ahead and make up your mind tonight. You're not getting what you need and want from this relationship. More likely, you're not getting your needs met. You know you are ready for a relationship, my brother and sister. You know that you don't want to just be no girlfriend and boyfriend. You don't want to be someone that's convenient. You don't want someone contacting you when he or she feels like it. You don't want someone, and let me tell you something, my brother and sister, you don't never want no man or woman when you want to be with them. And some of you have been able to identify that they want to put you on a schedule. You ask them about doing something a few days in advance out of courtesy, but he or she cannot make a decision right then. They got to get back with you. What they're letting you know now, you're not no top priority. You're not a top priority in their life, and more than likely you will never be. So you got to you got to cut tonight. You got to cut tonight, my brother and sister. You are fed up. When you're fed up, you go talk to the Lord, get it together with the Lord, and the Lord will hear you and he will help you. Will he take away that pain, that hurt? Because he's familiar with pain and hurt. Would he take it from you just like that? He may not, but more than likely, you're going to have to walk that valley a little bit because you got that person so ingrained in your mind and your heart that you're going to have to be detoxed. And you only way you're going to be detoxed because you are a spiritual being, my brother and sister. You got to be detoxed from a spiritual standpoint. You got to be detoxed from your soul standpoint, and you got to be detoxed from your body. Because, brother and sister, you are composed out of spirit, soul, and body. That man or woman that you're tied to, more than likely, that man or woman was not and is not a son or daughter of God as you are. So from the get-go, from a spiritual point of view, it wasn't going to work anyway because you're clashing. You, my brother, you, my sister, you're in a relationship where you are unequally yoked. So you're not going to walk down the same pathway. Your spiritual walk is different, which leads to your soul, your mind, your will, and your emotion. You're going to clash on that because a lot of things when it comes to a relationship, you're going to have different points of view, but you're going to try to force that. If you do not try to force that, you're going to allow that man or woman to change you for who you really are. You're going to take the back seat and you're going to let that man or that woman drive the car. And you're not going to be yourself. You're going to allow that man or woman to call the shots. And when that man or woman call the shot, you're going to get in a position where you're going to feel and think that you're walking on ice. Because at that particular time, that man or woman got control over you. You're going to have to pull all that stuff back. What you used to do, you got to stop it. It's going to be hard. You can pray to the Lord, but the Lord wants you to do some things. The Lord wants you to cut the relationship off with that unbeliever. Once you decide, the Lord is not going to make you cut him. You got to make a decision. You got what is called a free will. You got to make that decision. And let me tell you something, my brother and sister. I have walked down this road before, and it will work. You can make a decision, but it's going to be hard because every now and then you're going to be thinking about that person. Every now and then you may think about picking up the phone, calling that person. Every now and then you may think about texting that person. Every now and then you might want to go to that person's Facebook page or whatever social media. You need to pull yourself totally from it. You need to lose that person's number so you can't be contacting that person. How you doing, Sister Flahar Mark? Welcome to the dinner table. You're gonna have to destroy that person number. Because if you don't destroy that person number, you more than likely gonna call him or her. If you friends or something with that person on social media, you're going to have to unfriend that person. Not only unfriend that person, you need to block them. You got to do some of these things, my brother and sister, to help yourself out. So you destroy the phone number, and not only destroy the phone number, I mean, take it out, your phone, or block it. But my recommendation is to block it because more than likely she's going to try to call you. when he or she is not, when you go in another direction, go ahead and block the number. If you friends with someone with that person on social media, block it so they won't get in contact with you. Every way that person can get in contact with you, block it. You gave that man or woman time to be on one page with you, but he or she is just wasting your time. You are fed up. And you got to get in your mind, there's nothing he or she can say or do that can make me change my new path in life. You're dealing with an unbeliever. You are not walking on the same road. So my brother and sister, you need to get on a road in a relationship with someone. If you have desire for someone, you need to get on the road with someone that you're equally yoked with, not unequally yoked. And if that person some kind of way break through the barrier and get in contact with you, let me tell you what more than likely he or she going to do. He or she going to start talking to you. They're going to first of all ask you what you've been up to. And then they're going to want to know why you ain't calling, why you ain't texting. But they ain't no say nothing about why they ain't call or text you. That's what they're doing. They're setting up the stage to flip it on you. They're setting up to gaslight you so they could blame you for what it is. They are accustomed to you taking a hit. They're accustomed to you for you backing down from. They're accustomed to that. So they're accustomed to you taking the responsibility. And more than likely, they're not going to acknowledge that they did you wrong. They're not going to hardly do that. They're going to try to run a guilt trip on you. That's why I'm telling you to block every avenue that they could come. If they get a word to someone, tell that person, don't bring no messages to you from that person. Once you hear that a man or woman, your relative, your friend, or whatever, say, this person wanted me to say this to you. Once you hear that name, say, look, I don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear nothing. Now, he or she may get bold and they may want to do a drive-by. If they ain't been doing drive-by, but when they do a drive-by, how you doing, Sister Sherry Ismail? Welcome to them tape. If they do a drive-by, don't let them in your house or your apartment, wherever you say. Don't do it because you done made it your mind to move on. You're fed up. So when you're fed up, you got to say in your mind, it's over and you're moving on. And let me tell you this, my brother and sister, when you detox yourself from that man, when you detox yourself from that woman, you're going to see that God is going to mend your heart. He's going to mend your heart. And you're going to discover, my brother, you're going to discover, my sister, that some days going to go by and you're not going to be thinking that much about that person no more. You're going to see the shift in your life. You're going to see where you are filling your time with positive things to do instead of waiting for that person, whether he or she going to get in contact with you. So your time, everything going to be on the up and up. Your relationship with the Lord going to get more firmer. Your purpose and your gift going to kick into high gear. And the Lord going to position you for the right man and the right woman because he knows that you have a desire, my brother and sister. So I'm telling you right now, like I said earlier, or Kelly had a song out, when a woman fed up, there's nothing you can do about it. But I'm saying that when a man or a woman is fed up, there's nothing you can do about it. And who I'm talking about, I'm talking about you, brother, and I'm talking about you, sister. You are fed up right now. That person have taken you for advantage too long. That person have treated you bad for so long. Cut ties today. Get those invisible scissors out and cut it. Especially you unmarried people, cut it. Some of you married people, that the man you marry an unbeliever man or woman, if he or she decide to go, let him or her go. You're not on a bondage in such a case. You don't force them out. Let him or her go. Let them go on with their life. Because more than likely, some of you married men and women, when the person that you're married to, when they think that they got something better out there, the only way they're going to come back to you or when they're going to have a problem with that man or woman out there, or something ain't going right and they want to come back home because you are the rebound again. And some of you brothers and sisters, you continue to let these people come in and out your life. You got to stop it. You got to stop it as of tonight. Some of you married people, you're in this type of relationship. And it's sad to say, some of you single brothers and sisters, you in that because some of you single brothers and sisters, you letting these unbelieving men and women live with you. And they're supposed to be living with you right now. And they leaving stuff over to your house and you, or your apartment, wherever you live at, and you gave them the keys to your where you stay at. My brother and sister, especially single brother and sister, if they got something over to your house, you don't want them to have no excuse, pack up all their stuff and you take it and give it to him or her. Just take it. You don't want them to come to your place no more. You take it to him or her. You don't want no more parts of them. You don't want them making excuses so they could come to get something. You want to cut out every reason for them to want to come back. And when they do drive-bys or something like that, and ring your doorbell and stuff, you ain't got nothing to say. Now, if you see them in public, because they're supposed to be doing a drive-by on you anyway, you have to make it clear. And don't look for closure. Don't entertain that man and woman. Say, well, tell me that when it seems like he or she want to talk to you now to get back in your good grace, you ain't got time for that. He or she had an opportunity. He or she been wasting your time. How much time they been doing? Wasting your time, 5, 10, 15, 20 plus years, and they still doing it. Some of these people that some of you brothers and sisters been involved with, they even leave you and get in a full-fledged relationship with someone and you know it. And they still have access to you. Cut all that stuff off. Because only thing you're doing is setting yourself up to continue to be used. You're fed up. Get with the Lord. Pray to the Lord. Ask the Lord for help. Detox from that man or woman. Don't reach out to them no more. Block every avenue they could get in contact with you. Do you. It's after the Lord. Do you, my brother, and you, my sister. And I'm telling you, I guarantee you, the Lord know you got a need for a man and a woman. If he got put that desire in you, he know it. He has someone for you, my brother and sister. I done told so many men and women this. He has someone for you. Now, there are some of you brothers and some of you sisters right now. You're in a relationship with someone. You're actually living in a relationship with someone. And the only reason you are in a relationship with someone is because of the economy or the pandemic. You're only living with a person for financial reasons. Why are you still with a person for financial reasons? You giving yourself an excuse to stay with that man or woman. What you need to do is find a way. God will help you to find a way to take care of you. So you may have to, I'm talking to some of you single brothers and sisters that you're living with someone that is not your husband or not your wife. You need to leave. Don't make no excuse for yourself talk about financial reasons. And you telling other people financial reason, but you know in your heart, you looking for that man or woman to turn and do right, which he or she is hardly probably not going to do. If it's your place, you need to tell that man or woman they need to leave. Don't give them no 30 days. Tell them they need to leave. Now, if you messed up and you're in rental property and you got their names on it, you got a problem. And then there's in some states, my brother and sister, some states, not all states, they will look at how long that person been staying with you. And then you're going to have to go through the legal system. Even though you're not married to that person, you got to go through the legal system to get rid of that man or woman that's not your husband or wife. But if it's your house or your rental property, your apartment, you get their stuff, take it to them, change those locks. That's what you need to do. Change the lock. Catherine on that, work to the dinner table. Catherine said, what made me start the process? I said, Lord, I repent. I was fornicating anyway. Let's ride. Then my life started changing. That's what happened, Catherine on that. I can understand. I don't walk down that road before. The process starts when you open up to the Lord and tell the Lord that you need help, and then you got to make that hard decision and just say it stops right here. I'm not looking for no closed wing. Ain't nothing else for us to talk about. And like I always tell you, my brother, sister, once you leave those men and women that doesn't add to your life, they're liability, they're not no assets. Once you leave those men and women, you're going to see, even before the Lord bring another man or woman in your life that he chose for you, have chosen for you, you're going to be elevating. You're going to elevate, and that man or woman, they're going to see you elevating. That's why most of the time they want you back. That's why they want you anyway, my brother and sister, because you have elevated. And if you notice, they still going in circles. They're going to be doing the same thing and same thing. They going in circles like this while you're being lifted up by God. Then God bring a compatible man or a compatible woman to your life, and you exceed and you levering up, and you going to have a powerful testimony, my brother and sister, for the Lord. You going to experience what real love is. That man or that woman that you were trying to force the relationship, I would say you were wasting your time. You know, I'm good at saying wasting your time, but that was a learning experience. You wasted your time, but you learned from it. Don't keep being that person sponge bath. With sponge, not sponge bath, but sponge, okay? Don't keep letting that person draw you in, sucking you in. Don't let that person continue to be a tick or a leech in your life. Cut him or her off. Make that move. Decide that it's over and move. You could be nice. You ain't got to be nasty, but move on with your life. A lot of time, my brother and sister, by you holding on to a man or woman, you got the Lord hands tied. You got his hands tied. He been had this certain person for you, but you've been wasting a whole lot of time. You've been wasting the Lord's time. I put it that way. You've been wasting the Lord's time. You're going to elevate. When the Lord bring the right person to your life, you're going to experience peace. You're going to experience a whole bunch of peace that you never experienced, brother, with a woman, sister, that you never experienced with a man. It's going to blow your mind when you're with the right person. You're going to have more peace than you ever had. And then you will look back. You're going to look back and say, why did I do all this with that other person? And it's going to kind of shake you up first when you experience this type of peace, because you ain't never been accustomed to it before, because you were not with the right person that the Lord brought into your life. So that's why, and you're going to be thinking, how long it's going to last? How long it's going to last? It's too good to be true. When the Lord brings the right person in your life, it's not too good to be true. It's the truth. The man or woman that the Lord brings in your life, you're going to have a whole lot of peace. You're going to be walking basically on the same road. You may not agree on everything. You're going to take that person for who he or she is. He or she going to take you for who you are. You're not going to look at that person for what he or she got. He or she is not going to be looking at you for what you got. It's about who you are and who he or she is. I hope that you, brother and sister, got something out of this at the dinner table. When you're fed up, there's nothing that man or woman can do to change your mind. Go to the Lord, change your mind, do your blocking, whatever you need to do, and open yourself up for God's purpose. Utilize your gift, and he will, in his time, present the right person to be in your life, because he knows that you got a desire, okay? If you have any questions or comment, my brother, so you can go ahead and ask right now. If you do not, I appreciate you coming to the dinner table, my brother and sister. You can get one of these carry-out plates. You get the carry-out plates and go ahead and warm it up later on if you need to, or share with some more family members and friends. I love all of you brothers. I love you, sister. I hope that you all have a good evening. Peace out.